Welcome to Joy Unfiltered, the podcast where we ditch the diet drama, skip the burpees, and keep it all real, fun, and full of joy. I'm Rachel, your plant-based personal trainer and coach. I help women lose weight, gain energy, and feel freaking fabulous through my signature method of pauses, push-ups, and plants. Today, we are talking about something small but mighty, nutrition labels. Now, before you roll your eyes, like, Rachel, really? Yes, really. Because those tiny rectangles on the back of every package, they are either going to help you win the day or leaving you totally confused. So let's change that. First up, have you ever been lied to by a label? You pick up a snack that says healthy, low fat, plant-based, and later realize it has more calories than a donut. Yup, I have been there so many times. Here's the truth. The front of the package is marketing. Let me say that for those of you in the back. The front of the package is marketing. The back of the package, that little label, that is where the facts live. So today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what to look for on the back of the package, not on the front. Quick, easy, and super empowering. So step one, serving size. Start here. Always start here. Because everything else on the label is based on that number. If the label says 200 calories, but the bag has 3 servings, that's 600 calories if you eat the whole thing. And let's be honest, we're eating the whole thing. Oh, and cooking spray? Yikes. It says 0 calories because the serving size is a 1/4 second spray. Who sprays for just a 1/4 of a second? I mean, I don't. And I'm guessing you don't either. It's a trick. So if you eat double the serving, multiply everything. Calories, fat, carbs, protein by 2. Right? I'm not a math major, but if you double it, we're multiplying it by 2. That alone will change the game. So that was step 1. Step 2. So step 1, serving size. Step 2, calories. Calories are not the enemy. I promise, they're not the enemy. They are just energy. You want to lose some fat? You need to eat fewer calories than what you burn. So we need to be in a caloric deficit if you want to lose some weight. You want to build muscle, as some of us do, then you need to eat more calories than you burn. But here's the key. Where those calories come from matters just as much as the amount. 300 calories of tofu and broccoli, completely different than 300 calories of chips and dip. Now, I love both. Tofu and broccoli, yes, please. Also, chips and salsa, maybe not the dip, but chips and salsa, also, yes, please. So we do need to check the calories. But then I'm going to ask, so calories are important, and you have to know either do you want to be in a caloric deficit or do you want to be gaining some muscle so you need to eat a little bit above, or you're just at maintenance. You need to know those numbers. I certainly can help you figure those out, but you just need to know those. So 1 was the serving size. 2, we need to talk about calories. But then I'm going to ask, what am I really getting from this? So step 3, protein. I know you hear it all the time, but this one is a biggie. Not biggie smalls, just a biggie. Protein keeps you full, helps you build muscle. It supports fat loss. Protein. I cannot emphasize that enough. I do recommend every meal have at least 25 to 30 grams of protein. And here is what the research is saying about protein, especially for women, especially as we are aging. You want to try and get at least 30 grams of protein in the first meal of the day. So I know I said between 25 and 30 with your meals, but the first meal of the day, whenever you eat that, most of us call that breakfast. Some of us don't eat anything till lunch. No shame, no judgment about any time you eat. What I do want you to try to do is get at least 30 grams of protein in that first meal. What it does is it helps to open the protein receptors in our muscles, and we just do a worse and worse job every year at synthesizing protein. So we need to make sure we are getting enough protein in that first meal to open those protein receptors so that we can better synthesize the rest of the protein that we were getting in that day. So, but we're talking about snacks today. So how do you know if a snack is actually high protein? I've got a hack for you. What I want you to do is add a 0 to the grams of protein. So you're going to add a 0 to the grams of protein. You're looking at that label. Is that number equal to or higher than the total calories? If yes, it's high protein. If no, maybe you put it back. So let's try this out. So a protein bar has 20 grams of protein and 270 calories. So if I add a 0 to the 20, 200 is less than 270. Not my ideal. Not bad necessarily, but not my ideal. But what if we had a bar with 18 grams of protein and 170 calories? So I'm adding a 0 to that 18. So then I get 180, which, yay, is more than 170. So that protein bar would be a huge winner. Let's go on. So let's talk about tofu, one of my favorite foods. So tofu, 10 grams of protein, 90 calories, add the 0. Yep, 100 is more than 90. I mean, it's simple math. I was not a math major. You can ask my family, not my forte, but simple math, super powerful. So you're like, Rachel, what are personally, you're asking me, what are my favorite plant-based proteins? So I've got a couple. Tofu, yes, please. Seitan, I think that's how you say it, but seitan. Yes. Tempeh, yes, love that. Protein powder, pea protein powder, but there's a bunch of plant-based protein powders. These guys are protein rock stars. I also like some edamame, definitely edamame and beans, but the tofu, seitan, tempeh, TVP, the protein powders, super stars. Okay, let's go to step 4. We're at 1, 2, 3 already. Let's go to step 4, fiber. Most Americans do not get enough fiber. I mean, the statistics are that 95% of us in the United States do not get enough fiber. To me, that is wild, but those are the facts. Fiber does so much good. Couple things. Helps you feel full, supports digestion, balances blood sugar, so much more. But how do we then spot fiber on a label? First, you need to look at the carbs. So what you want is looking at, are at least 10% of the carbs made up by fiber? If so, it's a winner. 10%. So that's what we're kind of looking at. So an apple, 23 grams of carbs, 4 grams of fiber. Simple math, that's more than 10%. Yes. Chickpeas, probably my favorite food besides chips and salsa, but that is not a winner. Chickpeas, 45 grams of carbs, 12 grams of fiber. Yes, simple math, way more than 10%. Woohoo. Oatmeal, 28 grams of carbs, 4 grams of fiber. Again, solid choice. So, bonus about fiber, it slows your digestion, which helps you stay full longer. And when we talked about all of those, there are plenty of other big winners in terms of fiber. What I will say is that there is really good research around beans. So any kind of beans. I know I talked about chickpeas because, chickpeas, love them. But any kind of beans, there's a really good research study that said but they took 2 groups and one group didn't have beans, the other group had beans, and they had the same amount of calories for lunch. And then without telling them anything for dinner, the group that had a half a cup of beans for lunch ate 200 calories less at dinner. So think about that. If you are trying to be in a caloric deficit, trying to lose weight, these people automatically just ate less calories at dinner by just including a half a cup of beans at lunch. So good fiber, good for lots of things, also might be good to help keep you in a caloric deficit. Step 5, let's talk sugar. Sugar's not evil. It's not. I promise you it's not evil, but it is sneaky. So instead of panicking about the number, look at 2 things. What I want you to look at on the label, because remember, we're talking about nutrition labels, added sugars. That's the first thing. Added sugars. You want those as low as possible and compare the total sugar to the fiber. So we want to look at sugar versus fiber. Here's the rule. You want to try to keep your sugar no more than double your fiber. So let me say that again. Try to keep your sugar no more than double your fiber. So if a bar, let's talk about protein bars, love them, have them in my bag all the time. So if a bar has 5 grams of fiber and 8 grams of sugar, super cool, because that's less than double, right? But if it had 1 gram of fiber and 18 grams of sugar, and believe me, those are out there, it's a no thank you. It's a no thank you. I do want to say fruit has sugar, which again is fine, right? Fruit has sugar because fruit also has fiber, water, vitamins, so many other amazing things. So apples and berries and bananas are not the enemy. Context matters. Context matters always. So let's bring it all together. I just shot a bunch of information at you. Context matters, and let's bring it all together. So when you're reading a nutrition label, here's what I really want you to do. 1, start with the serving size. 2, check the calories in context. 3, use the protein hack, and remember that was add a 0. 4, look for 10% fiber in your carbs. 5, keep the sugar no more than 2 times your fiber. And then just watch for added sugars. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. But once you know what to look for, you will stop being fooled by the fancy labels and start fueling your body on purpose because you deserve that. And a quick aside about fancy labels. I had to say my sister and I were in Southern California last week, and we saw this truck or this van that said plant-based energy drinks. And I was like, aren't all energy drinks plant-based? I mean, they're not putting steak in them. So anyway, stop being fooled by fancy labels. Again, you deserve to fuel your body on purpose. And I love you for that, and you will love yourself for that. So if this episode gave you a few light bulb moments, I would love if you would share it with a friend. And better yet, come hang out with us in the Enjoy community, where we every day break down real world nutrition, share simple recipes, support each other, and make nutrition and fitness fun again. It really is the sisterhood that you didn't know that you needed. And if you're ready to take your wellness even to the next level, in the show notes, check out the Enjoy supplements. I've got clean, plant-based supplements designed to support your energy, strength, and joy. My favorite is the plant-based vanilla protein and the creatine. Again, we talked about creatine last week. We're going to keep talking about it. All the links are in the show notes, or go to enjoymyeveryday.com. But until next time, just remember, Rachel from Enjoy, I am celebrating you today and every day. So have fun, live well, enjoy.